what was really interesting about making this record with Jody was the location of the recording process, which was at Jody's house on Clark Street in Leamington, a house, and Jody gave this great background to it. I had, not being from Leamington, I didn't understand the significance of it. It's about 150 years old. Obviously that makes it one of the maybe oldest residential streets in Leamington, maybe Canada, to some degree, but at least in Leamington. And there's lots of wood, there's lots of brick, there's, of course got plaster, but it obviously that kind of, I've worked in a few places, studio locations in the past, say 10, 15 years that are in someone's home. And those are always great experiences because, it's got, as great as some, classic studios are, it's not that kind of sterile, it may seem sterile bricks and mortar kind of studio with lots of gear around. This is just, it seems the gear seems insignificant to the surroundings, which are, nice rugs and couches and just really homey feel. And that made for a great experience in terms of, how you feel while you're playing the track, when in my case playing, that's why I'm doing this, playing saxophone or harmonica or whatever. And on top of that though, was just, I think Jody had this really great energy just because he loves where he lives. So, that made it right away a great, relaxed atmosphere, which I think brings out the best in an artist when you're trying to, do your best. In my, in this case for my buddy and his record and these great songs he constructed, and it had a nice loose feel. There was friends coming by and Jody's kids, and it was just felt like you were going to draw out your best because you weren't, again, sort of feeling like you're in some sort of sterile, strange environment that you are in sometimes at classic studios, especially if you're playing in those for the first time. And when it came time for a meal, you went to the kitchen and Jody, whipped up some great food. And I think it makes that kind of atmosphere also makes for a great collaboration. Jody had great ideas for horn lines and things like that. But at the same time, he wants to get your take on what that, that creative process might be. And of course, we had Marty Bach there engineering the whole thing too. And Marty's got that great sense of, collaboration, and obviously he's got great ideas, and as well as Jody. And I think my biggest takeaway, other than I've always wanted to work with Jody on one of his own albums, it almost came to fruition a few years ago, but it didn't work out schedule-wise, that it was under these circumstances. It was just, like I say, just such a homey feel, as cliched as that sounds, but it was really conducive to making great music.
I love it. That's it. And I love the Amazing Grace thing. Are you kidding me?
Thanks, man.
Because you're talking about somebody's soul. Who gives a fuck? Like I said before, you want to sue my ass for doing that? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I get quoted all the time.
Of course. I probably wouldn't even come near getting sued for that. That's fucking great, dude. I love that.
That wasn't a bad take. You want to hear that back? Make sure.
Yeah. Check it out.
I liked it.
From the new album, 9 Michael Street, is there any track that really appeals to you, really jumped out?
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, he did a cover of my dad's song, You're So Good For Me. And that has always been my favorite of my dad's songs. And for many personal reasons, and not a lot of people knew it here. And that's another thing that I remember hearing him sing that years ago, maybe 10 years ago, at the VI in Leamington as an encore acoustic by himself, and I went like that, jaw totally hit the ground. How the hell does he know this song? And then when he told me he was putting it on the album and he played a couple bits and pieces for me, it was fantastic. I don't know, it just really hit me. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's one of my favorite parts about all of Jody's writing technique is how everything's personal. It's either happened to him or it's happened to somebody he knows, and to me, it makes the biggest difference in the world. That's why everybody can relate to it. And the first thing I did when I heard the new album was I had to ask him the meanings to every song, who metaphorically meant this person, that person in the song, and it was it always brings goosebumps. And right back to Grab Time, I can't listen to this day. I can't listen to Grab Time without crying, and it does, honest to God, bring tears to my eyes because it reminds me of my grandmother, and that's his music's done that to me from the first song I've ever heard.
So really excited about Jody's new release of the album. The cover itself has a huge spot in my heart. It's about the whole entire family on one cover, and then the grandparents on the other side. And how I'm related is his mother and my mom are sisters, so we grew up together. We spent a lot of time together. Heck, we even picked tomatoes when we were little kids, maybe between the ages of 6 to the age of 10. And what made the day go by really well was Jody and I singing our old heavy rock music. Was called Led Zeppelin. But that would make the day go by. All day long we'd be picking tomatoes and singing along with each other, and yeah, really, really good times. But this album cover is gonna be the most beautiful album yet. I really enjoy the cover. The cover has a lot of family members on there. In black and white are the surviving ones, and in color are the deceased ones. And I have a lot of family members that are deceased. But we're still very close. We still have a very large family, and we're looking forward to enjoying this beautiful album. And what makes it even more exciting is my daughter is going to be singing at the CD release party at the Bank Theatre. So that's very exciting. And she gets her talent from me. I sang in the choir for 10 years.
That's Amanda.
Yep, and her name is Amanda Toole, so you'll see her up there. Yeah.
When I first musically met Jody, we'd been to parties or whatever, but it was on Weigel Street. That's a little little hook for the new album. It was on Weigel Street, and he was playing Rocky Raccoon on his acoustic, and I'd already been in the band with Mark Dorowski and Tim King. I don't know if you heard of Tim King, but he he says, so how do you think it sounds? And I was ready to go home and drink broken glass and never sing again after I heard his voice, because and it's been nothing but impressive. His songwriting, his singing, his family life. The man procreates like Moses or Lebanese Jesus, or I don't know what do you want to call him, but Lebanese, old Lebaneser. But yeah, it's from that day forward, every song he tried to sing, he achieved greatness on everything he's ever done. And I tell him I'm his biggest fan. I haven't showed him his altar that I have at my house in the closet. I have the only key. There's some candles. I've got a bowl of tabbouleh in there. I've got some kibbe. I got a Jedro Tull album, and everything he's ever signed for me. Albums, backstage passes. I've got the video when he won the Bon Jovi thing. I know it sounds like I'm obsessed with him, but as long as he doesn't see this video, everything's going to be good. And I should probably get some nice, I'm going to get some nice swag off this 9 Weigel Street tour, because I'm going to be on stage. I'm taking the set list again.
Give you a check 1, 2.
Hillary Clinton, he was a beautiful lady.
Right.
Your whole magic, right on.
Okay. So you're just you're playing D.
Down the scale.
Or you just you're breaking that down.
Is that what that is?
What is that? Oh, a toy? So what the fuck is that?
Fucking cat toy.
That's what's throwing me off, man.
That's gonna be your secret weapon right there.
I was hearing that. They're going, what did you do?
Wait till you
You
hear
had
him
a
on
beautiful song.
Wait till you hear him on the next song. The one we did, there was a great mistake on that called Bird and Bee.
Oh, yeah?
Wait till you hear that story.
All right.
Remember that story, Mark?
Yeah.
Won't you help me a line if I play you a tune? We can come up with something that's totally me and you. I'm so in love with you.
Me. I remember the first time I heard this, he sent me a message. I was in Mexico, and he said to me, he goes, check this song out, what do you think of it? Not for my approval or anything, but he knows I love his music. And I kept playing it and playing it and playing it in the motel room because it just hit me so hard because I was going through some similar issues. It's like music is aid to your health and to your mind. It just calmed me down and made things a little bit more easier for me to know that life will go on, things will be okay. Right over here, 5 Weigel Street, another landmark in Jody's life. Spent many, many days on this front porch with David, Ronnie, Jody. It's where your grandparents used to live.
But I can't remember how old we were. I was in the 80s, so you do the math. But I was at the Leamington Dock one day, and Jody's coming down the hill from the Sea Cliff. I'm walking up. If you've ever been to the Leamington Dock, I'm walking up through the turnaround area, and he goes side saddle on his 10-speed, you know, the 10-speed with the thin tires and the curly handlebars. So he puts both legs over on one side, rides one pedal down, and as he's getting closer, I'm looking and I'm thinking, I don't know if he was bringing me lunch or I don't know what the hell he had. And as he got closer, I noticed there was a major appendage hanging out of his short Adidas shorts. And if I had that much skin, bare skin, especially that part of my body, I wouldn't know. I would feel a breeze blowing on it. Not mine personally. You need a huge industrial fan for me to feel that breeze. But him, he rides up like nothing's happening, and I just stop right there. I said, what are you doing? Is this how you always approach a friend? I mean no harm. Put that bat away, put that weapon away. And he's like, what? And I said, just look down. And he's like, oh God. And like, just like a fireman at a 3-alarmer, he just starts reeling that monster in. He grabs a hold of one end and he has to haul it like, you know, he's putting it in his waistband. He's running out of spaces to put it. So I think he tucked it around back, so I didn't have to look at it anymore. And then he just rode off into the sunset, him and his horse.